Hello, today I'm going to talk about magnetism. It's the first in a 5-part series on manifestation that I'm going to do in the coming weeks, over the coming weeks. So I'm going to start with this question: what is manifestation? Put simply, I would say it's transforming your desires into reality. It's important to remember that the universe creates, just like we create, and it provides for you. We live in a universe that communicates with us. We have a relationship almost like play. So in the idea of manifestation, what you focus on is what you get. So that is for good or ill. If you focus on good things, you will hopefully attract good things. If you focus on the negative, then perhaps negative things will be drawn to you. If you know anything about ceremonial magic or thelema, you will know that the will is very important. But what is equally important are the emotions. And again, this is for good or ill. If you have positive emotions, you will attract positive things, because like attracts like. So if you have negative emotions, the same thing will happen to you. So it's very important to gain some mastery over your mind, and not just your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and also your emotions. So the techniques for manifestation are rooted in psychology. You could even say Hermetic magic, and also science. A lot of people think of this kind of thing as pseudoscience, but I disagree. There's a lot. I'm not going to talk about everything in these videos, but if you really want to research it, you can find out there's a lot of science backing all of this. But what I'm going to focus on in this video are the 7 Hermetic principles, because I think it's to understand manifestation, you have to understand these principles. They appear first in the Emerald Tablet and the Corpus Hermeticum by Hermes Trismegistus, and you can also find them in the Kabbalion by the 3 Initiates. If you want to know more about that, you can check out my Western Alchemy book top 10 list here. I talk about that quite a bit in that list. But let's get into the actual principles. The principle of mentalism is first. It's like saying the universe is akin to a mental projection. So not only are we capable of thinking, but the universe is also capable of thinking. Because in Hermetic thought, there are correspondences, and that is actually the next principle. And the axiom, as above, so below, is very important in Hermeticism. Then we have the principle of vibration. Matter, spirit, emotions, the universe, all of them vibrate. Then the principle of polarity. Everything is dual. There is a negative and a positive to everything. The principle of rhythm. There is flow, in and out, the tides, breathing. The principle of cause and effect. Everything is connected. And finally, the principle of gender. Everything holds both energies, masculine and feminine. So in the Hermetic tradition, there is this idea of like frequency and vibration. And you could say not just in the Hermetic tradition, but in yoga and all kinds of different kinds of qigong, anything like that, there's this idea of frequency and vibration. So what is frequency exactly? Well, it's the waves. And the thing to remember is that everything has a frequency. Everything has a polarity. Everything has this wave going on. And if you understand the world as a bunch of frequencies, you can understand how something might harmonize. So if you have several people singing together, if they're off key, it will sound very bad, right? It'll be dissonant. But if they're in key and they're harmonizing correctly, then the vibration is the same and there is beauty there. So the same goes for reality. If you look at these charts, the first chart here is the emotional frequency chart, and this is measured in hertz, you can see the negative emotions are at the bottom and the positive emotions are at the very top, and there's this scale in between. This also goes for frequencies in music. They're called the Solfeggio frequencies. I think I'm saying that correctly. And they are specific tones of sound that help with and promote various aspects of body and mind health. These frequencies are reputed to date back to ancient history and said to be the fundamental sounds used in both Western Christianity and Eastern Indian religions, chanted by the Gregorian monks and in ancient Indian Sanskrit chants. If you're interested in trying these things out, you can find many files on YouTube and Spotify with the different frequencies, and some of them are like 8 hours long, so you can play them while you sleep. They're very therapeutic, I would say. I use them quite often. But the thing to remember is that not only is our mind connected to the universal mind, our body is connected to the physicality of the universe, and those two things are connected in the same way. And so when you use these frequencies, you kind of resonate. Whatever the frequency is, you end up matching it with your resonation. So in history, there are many alchemists and Hermetic physicians who have used this to great success. And a lot of it is quite controversial. If you know anything about Anton Mesmer, they say he invented animal magnetism, but I think that's just another term for something that had been around for a long time. And what he would do is he would mesmerize people, and what that means is he would use either his eyes or his hands to change the wavelength, to change the frequency, to change the resonance in a person. And often he would heal people. So it started in 1779, the idea of animal magnetism. It was kind of a fad, actually, and it lasted about 75 years, although I think it's still kind of going on, but now it's more considered pseudoscience. You know, here's the thing, Mesmer was not a fool, and you know, people can call him a charlatan, but he was a well-educated person. He studied theology at some Jesuit universities. He had a doctorate in philosophy, and then he studied medicine at the University of Vienna. So it's not like he was just some quack trying to, you know, put something over on someone. He had substantial education and he used it. The problem is other people didn't believe in his sort of occult investigations. So to them it appeared like magic or, you know, something impossible. But to him, he understood manifestation and magnetism to a great degree, and he was able to perform acts that seemed miraculous. The thing to remember, though, is that in alchemy, they always saw the one thing that is in all of our existence. They would term it kind of the magnetic fluid or the universal fluid, sometimes called the aether. They recognized that it existed, so they would use this to change things in their reality. Now, I'm not saying that you can jump off a cliff and start flying and that, you know, that's gonna work. But I am saying that if you understand these principles, the idea that there is a magnetic fluid, you might be able to make small changes. You might be able to affect reality in small ways. They almost saw this medium as like water. So there's like a water around of energy. If you know anything about when they freeze water or when they play music and the beat goes in the water, you can see actual geometric shapes and things. I believe that's kind of how they saw the magnetic fluid, that they could kind of create these vibrations in it and it would do different things. So what someone like Mesmer supposedly did is that he just freed up the flow of energy because there were these blockages, and that's why the person was sick. So he was able to identify how the person was sick and that could be because of their chakras or something. And then, he got the flow to go again. But, this could also be used for ill. You could potentially make someone sick or vomit, just by knowing the different energies and how to direct them. Another aspect of it was like hypnosis. But in this case, it's influencing the mind in a different way, not as much in a physical way, but in more of a mental way. People would say, oh, it's like placebo effect or something. And, yeah, maybe. But if it works, it works. Like, I don't know. He had a lot of success to the point where the medical establishment was very upset with him and kind of running him out of town. And he's not the only person. There are other people in history that have had similar kind of miraculous events. One would be Paracelsus. He actually said that the magnetic fluid was from the stars. Another person would be Kepler. He called it the anima mundi, which is like the central spirit. Other people, William Blake, who was more of an artist, but he did focus on spiritual matters. He got a lot of his work from Swedenborg, Emanuel Swedenborg. Swedenborg was so in tune with these energies that he was actually able to grow a third set of teeth. Now that could just be, like folk tale or something, but there's lots of documented evidence that this happened. I don't know. Rasputin, Bome, Cagliostro, who was kind of like a charlatan, rogue mystic, but he also was a mesmerist around the same time as Anton Mesmer. There are countless others. The detractors of this would consider it faith healing, but I don't really think that is how they saw it at all. I think that they just saw it as more science. It's like electricity going through a lake. The magnetic person can draw the mental thoughts to him or her through the principles of mentalism and vibration. The more that you know how to use these Hermetic principles, the more that reality becomes malleable. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the flow state. That will be my second one. And my third video will be the law of assumption. Number 4 will be the backwards law. And the final one will be the mirror principle. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, you should tune back in the next few weeks. I'll probably be posting these maybe bi-weekly, every other week, or maybe every third week, because I have other videos coming out. But over the next 2 months or so, 2-3 months, I will be posting all of these. So if you like anything you see here, you can hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to share it with someone, if you think they might benefit, you can do that. Otherwise, that's about all I have for today. Take care. Have a good day.